Hey friends, Coach Casey here, and wanting to talk with you today about a conversion experience I recently had, or at least one I was realizing in the midst of it that I was having a conversion experience. Usually when we talk about conversion experience, we realize that it's related to something along the lines of maybe our health or our religion or a philosophy of life, something that we think one way one day and we realize like I no longer think that way anymore. And I realized that I recently had an experience that was, for many of us, we probably have similar experiences and we don't realize that these are actually conversion experiences. Let me explain what I mean by this. That I had to decide not to run a big goal that I had for myself. And in the midst of deciding not to do that run, that was my realization that I think that some of us, when we decide not to do something, that becomes a point of conversion for ourselves. And what we convert from is being kind of a hobbyist or someone who's just kind of running or being active for fun. And when we decide and realize that maybe I shouldn't run, we actually take a step towards converting to becoming an athlete. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I use my example to help illustrate what I mean. So I had a goal for my 42nd birthday to run 42 miles, and I had been training for it throughout the winter. I had even attached kind of a fundraiser for Girls on the Run to it, and I was feeling very prepared for it and had done nice, long, slow runs, getting my body ready to tackle this 42-mile race. Well, about 3 weeks out from the run, I did a little test run at marathon pace, and got done with the marathon pace workout and felt a slight twinge of pain on the top of my right foot. And this was a familiar pain because I had experienced a very extreme form of it at the end of my Twin Cities Marathon in October. And realized that if I can go ahead and in 3 weeks try to go ahead and do this 42-mile attempt, this little twinge of pain will probably blow up into something that could really devastate my entire summer season and put my big goal of the Chicago Marathon in jeopardy. Now, what I mean by the conversion experience that happens here, I feel like over the years I've probably made a lot of these smaller decisions. But as I realized I was saying no to the 42-mile run, what I was actually saying yes to was doing as best as I could at the Chicago Marathon. And so sometimes what we don't do is we inadvertently continue to say yes to a lot of other things, and what we're doing is we're taking withdrawals from our goal race. And when I see runners do that, we're probably being, to be frank, we're probably being more hobbyists or weekend warriors versus pursuing just being the best runners we can be. Because athletes are trying to be the best they can be. Realize they can only be the best they can be on a certain limited number of days a year. They can't do that at every 5K race every weekend or every 10K race every other weekend. So they limit the amount of times that they try to be the best. And so by saying no to that 42-mile run, I was realizing that I am putting even more of my emotional and physical energy towards doing my best at the Chicago Marathon. And so I was reaffirming a conversion experience I had probably had many years ago. But I throw that out there as an invitation to all of us to be thinking about this summer. And to realize that we've thought a little bit in the last couple months about why we run. And then out of that why we run, we've created a bullseye target of a goal race, probably in October or November. And that goal race is feeding why we run. It is putting some fire around why we run. And when we say yes to other things that are taking away from that goal race, we're actually putting why we run. We're putting that goal race in danger. And we're actually pursuing our sport more like an amateur rather than, say, a professional. And so the invitation for us is to plan, even though we may feel like, well, I'm just a guy who runs on the weekend. I'm just, a mom. Forget that stuff. If you have a goal race that means a lot to you, you are an athlete that is pursuing your dream. And don't make a foolish decision this summer of pursuing a race that really, all you're doing is getting a free t-shirt out of it. But don't make a decision of pursuing that, kind of mediocre race and then putting that target race in detriment. Instead, make the conversion, make that decision that to do, to say yes to a lot of things, say no to other things, so that that goal race can remain the focus, can remain the fire and the passion of what you want to do. And it will also, that decision will feed more energy and more fire back to why you run. And they kind of become this feeding loop on each other. The goal and the why and the passion become stronger. And when we say no, we're feeding that passion. However, when we say yes, we're taking away from it. Hope this helps. Hope this provides some clarity around the races you're deciding to do, and maybe even helps you decide, maybe I shouldn't do that race because it's not going to help me with my final end goal. Before I go, I feel like I want to give more of a tangible example. I always tend to talk more in abstract, so let me give a tangible example. Last year, I met a couple of runners that were running at a race at the Fox Valley Marathon about 3 weeks before Chicago. And they were out there running the Fox Valley Marathon for fun. But then they were telling me that they wanted to qualify for Boston at the Chicago Marathon just 3 weeks later. And I asked them, well, have you ever qualified for the Boston Marathon? And they're like, no, I haven't. I'm like, and I just began to think, like, then what are you doing here today running this race for fun? Because you're hurting yourself by doing something that's for fun, and you're not going to have a lot more fun 3 weeks from now. You're not going to meet your goal 3 weeks from now because you're saying yes to a short-term thrill and you're saying no to that long-term resolution of a bigger goal that would probably give you a lot more passion, a lot more excitement around your running when you make that bigger goal versus like just doing another race 3 weeks out. So I hope that maybe that example, my example of saying no to the 42 miles, my other example here of these folks that were like, they're well-intentioned, just trying to have fun at a local race, but really putting their big goal in danger. So keep that big goal focused and front and center. I know we're all probably good at this already, but just keep it, say no to things, say yes to things so that goal can be protected. And that's going to give a lot more energy, again, back to why you run. And they feed on each other, and they get bigger and stronger. Enjoy these days. I know I am. The longer days are great to run in. And as you are racing this summer, I'd love to see some pictures and just the kind of experiences you are having out on the race course this summer. And if this video has been helpful for you, obviously, just share it with a friend and invite them to be part of this little community we have here. So take care, and we'll talk to you soon.